Hey, welcome to another episode of Coffee with Creators podcast hosted by myself, Rob Balasabas. Really good to see you here. If you're new, welcome. If you're returning, if you've been listening to this podcast or been tuning to, my YouTube channel for a while now, then welcome back. Really glad to have you here. Really excited for you to meet my friend Peter Yang, who is the co-founder and CEO of Oversubscribe. It's an amazing platform that's really doing some really cool things to help creators accelerate their business growth. And so I'm really excited for you to meet him. We just wrapped up our conversation a little earlier today, and I was just kind of thinking through all the things that he shared and before even recording this introduction. But yeah, I think you're really going to find a lot of nuggets, a lot of learnings from this conversation with Peter. Make sure you connect with him over on LinkedIn. I'm going to have all the notes and all the links and everything in the description. But make sure you do that. Before we dive into this conversation, I want to thank you, our awesome supporters, all right? Our sponsors. I want to say shout out to our friends over at StreamYard. Love StreamYard. You guys know that. I have a ton of tutorials on StreamYard. StreamYard is by far the best way to live stream on any platform. You can live stream on any device, any platform, and it's a really cool tool. You can live stream to Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, even Uscreen if you are running a membership on Uscreen. Shout out to Uscreen over there. And you can live stream directly from your browser on your desktop or laptop, or from one of these things, which is your phone. And make sure you check them out. There is a link in the description of this podcast, of this YouTube podcast. I guess it's a new thing now, but there is a link in the description so that you can get a free trial of StreamYard. You guys are gonna love it. Trust me, I use it. I've been using it for years now, and I just love it. There's nothing more to say other than go check it out for yourself. You're gonna find that you can start looking super professional. You already are, all right? You're already a professional, but you're gonna look even more professional with StreamYard when you live stream. You can record podcast episodes as well. They give you can download multiple tracks for your every person on the podcast. So one audio track for you, one for your guest, and then you can do all the fancy things to edit that podcast afterwards. Just really cool. There's so many cool features here. You can record your videos, your interviews. You can do all those things on StreamYard. They even have sort of a webinar feature called StreamYard on Air. They have sessions. They have so many things. Hop in, man, so many things. But go check them out. I will put a link in the description so that you can get a free trial of StreamYard. Of course, full disclosure, it is an affiliate link. So by using that link to get that free trial and eventually going on a paid plan, because you will love it, go on the pro plan. That's the plan that I'm on. You're supporting this channel by doing so. All right. The other tool I want to let you guys know about is Superhuman. I love Superhuman. They're not a sponsor of this channel, of this video. I just want to let you guys know because I love this tool. This tool has saved me so much time with my email and less time in my inbox because of just the way that they built this. That's all I'm going to say. All I'm going to tell you is if you want a free trial of this tool, send me an email. Email is in the show notes, or leave a comment. I'll get you a code to get a free trial, or find the link to Superhuman in the description as well, and we will make sure you are hooked up with a free trial of Superhuman. Trust me, you're gonna be so thankful. It's so worth the money to do this. Use this tool, whether you're in Gmail or Outlook. This tool is for you. All right. And one last thing, I've been thinking about relaunching my private community for content creators. So let me know if this is something that you are interested in. I'm thinking, somewhere where we really support each other, somewhere where I'm present on a daily basis, likely doing a live office hour every week, live Q&A sessions, maybe member hot seats, and maybe even some guest expert interviews, something that I have been thinking about. So let me know if this is something that you would be interested in. I want to gauge interest here of how many people are interested. Before we invest time and resources to building the community, I want to ensure that there's enough interest from the community that's already forming in different places. I really want to put them all in one place. This will not be on Facebook. This will not be a Facebook group. This will be in a platform dedicated specifically for creators to build community. I'm thinking somewhere in the range of $10, maybe $20 a month. And again, I'm thinking about this. I'm getting really serious in my mind about doing this because I do love building community. And so I would love to know if this is something that you'd be interested in. Leave a comment below of this podcast, this video, or send me an email or go to Substack and let us know over there as well. All right. So really curious if this is something that people would be interested in. All right. So with all the housekeeping out of the way, I'm really excited for you to meet Peter Yang, co-founder and CEO of Oversubscribe. All right, here we go. Hey, Peter, welcome to the podcast. How you doing?
Doing well. Delighted to be here, Rob. I was thinking this morning this is probably my Canadian podcast debut here, so very excited to be here with you.
Yeah, you're an international speaker now, I guess. Yeah?
That's right. Exactly right.
No, that's awesome. Well, thanks for hanging out with me for the next little while. I'm really excited to catch up with you, have you on the podcast, and for our audience and our community to learn more about Oversubscribe, and kind of what you're doing. I was just thinking about, we spent a couple days, I think, in Texas, in Austin, a month or two ago. Time flies, but it was so quick. We visited the Facebook office. We had tacos, and we even went to church. So it was awesome. It was really fun. It was great meeting you there, and learning about what you guys do. So why don't you take a minute or two, Peter, and just introduce yourself and what Oversubscribe is, and then we'll get to chatting. You guys have a really cool thing happening here.
Sounds great, Rob. And thank you for having us on. I'm so delighted to be here and be able to share about what we're hoping to do with the company here at Oversubscribe. So my name is Peter Yang. I'm one of the two co-founders of Oversubscribe. My co-founder, Jay, is actually here in the office right now as well. But Oversubscribe is a early stage startup based out here in New York. We have a small office in Manhattan. We are a venture-backed startup. We raised some venture funding a couple years back, and we're looking to raise some more this year as we continue to grow and see good results with creators. But in terms of who we are and what we do, I can start by saying Oversubscribe is a mission-driven company. We're our mission as a company is broader than just the products we're building or what we're trying to do in the market. And our mission as a company is to really help everyone we come into contact with, everyone we work with, reach their full potential, regardless of their socioeconomic situation. So regardless of where they're starting from. So that sounds really broad. There's ways we hope to do that with all folks we work with, folks in the company or our customers or even partners and things like that. But particularly with creators who are our main focus and our only focus as customers right now, we hope to help creators reach their full potential and in the medium term reach the next level. And we hope to do that in two ways. The first is we can help them raise investment funding from their own audience and fans through our Kickstarter-like platform. So what that means is our platform, when you come into it, and we can walk through it a little more later, it'll look very similar to like a Kickstarter or GoFundMe. The difference being, though, it wouldn't be like a donation on GoFundMe or like to get your name on something or to get a free product like on Kickstarter. In our case, you would be investing financially in the future revenues of your favorite creator to support them in investing in their career. So on the Oversubscribe platform, you can invest in the future revenues, the future money that your favorite creator makes in return for a percentage of those revenues for a certain amount of time. And a big difference with our platform is the creator gets to choose that percentage of revenue in that amount of time. So the first way we help them is to raise that money to invest in their career. It can help them in a lot of different ways. It could be to hire some outside help or to invest in new kinds of content that have a lot of upfront expense but can really bring a good return for that creator, or many, many other things. We don't try to dictate how to use the money. So that's the first way we help. But the second way we help really comes from the fact that in building this product, we really wanted to build something that truly helps creators, not just something that seems cool, but really solves problems they have. So we spoke with probably over 100 creators and folks in the creator economy like you, Rob, about the problems facing creators and what we could build there. And another story we heard was, hey, that's great, Peter, that you can help me to raise that money to invest in my career. I'm really excited to hear that. But to be honest, even if I raise that $20,000 or $50,000, I'm not sure how to best use it. So, for example, I'd love to hire an editor to free up, that 15 to 20 hours I spend a week editing my YouTube videos, those 15 to 20-minute lifestyle vlogs I'm doing. Uh, but I don't. I worked with one off Fiverr before, and it was a horrible experience. Worst experience of my life. So I don't know really how to find a good editor. I don't know how to work with one or tell if one is good. Can you help me with that? Or they might say, yeah, I mean, that's great. You can help me reach the next level. And, I have 10,000 subscribers right now. I could see the folks out there with 100,000 and a million. I can see what they're doing from the outside, but I'm not really sure how they've gotten there behind the scenes. Is there any way you can help me with that to really reach the next level and reach my full potential? So we heard that loud and clear. And what we've done is after the fundraise, after our creator public offering, that investment offering that we're talking about, we've actually set up a network of what we call creator mentors, who are experts in the creator economy in different areas to help our creators reach the next level. So they provide direct advice and guidance. We could walk through all the specific mentors we have later. But when you put those two together, we really think we're setting up creators to succeed for the long term. We're not just helping them raise money and then walking away. We really want to give them the tools and the skills and the knowledge they need to reach their full potential. So in a nutshell, kind of a big nutshell there, but that's what we do here at Oversubscribe.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm looking at the way that you guys look at this. It's very much like, yeah, really investing. There's a lot of platforms out there where you can donate to your favorite, creators and support them in that way. But this is the first time that I really heard, investing into your favorite creators, which I think is really sort of where people want to be. They don't want to donate. Yes, they do, but like, a lot of people want to invest in their creators. I think that's a more deeper, sort of impact. And also for the creator themselves, they don't want to feel like, a bit of a charity, like, oh, donate to me, invest in my business. This is a business, and I want you to be a part of this, a part of my journey, and also a part of the fruits of it as it grows, and really be part of it, similar to you would with a startup and a founder, right? And like, hey, you have a really good business, you're really good. I love the way that you think, and your leadership, and all of these other aspects of it where I want to invest in it. Peter, can you talk a little bit about your? I want to talk about Oversubscribe, but your career, because how did you? I think you guys also come from Wall Street. Is that right? Is that sort of the background here? That's why we're talking CPO, creator public offering and stuff. Yeah, is that your background?
Yeah. So my co-founder and myself. So my co-founder's been based out here in New York. His name is Jay Kim. He's staring at me right now as I'm. His background is on Wall Street. So Jay worked at firms like Credit Suisse, now UBS, Perella Weinberg Partners, and a few other private equity investment firms. He was focused on things like collateralized debt obligations or mortgage-backed securities and things like that, and structuring and trading these types of products. So Jay's done a lot of work on the analytical side in kind of putting numbers into new products and how that really impacts the end user. He's also familiar with structuring products. So really, yeah, a lot of what we do on that front is driven by Jay, and that comes from the mind of the man you see there on his LinkedIn profile. My background is more kind of on the tech and tech finance side. So actually, I was out in Silicon Valley for about 15 years. So, what you could probably categorize my career under is probably tech finance. So I actually started out, I moved out to the Bay Area in the early 2000s, and I was working on the Wall Street side of things, but a different side than Jay. It's an area called equity research or stock research. So if you're ever watching CNBC and they say the Morgan Stanley analyst downgraded Google to a hold, that is the equity research analyst. That would have been my boss. I was the junior guy on the totem pole there. So I was doing that at Goldman Sachs and Citigroup, covering enterprise software.
Wow.
The difficulty with that job is it's a stock market job, but the stock market's here in New York. My office was not in New York. It was in the Bay Area of California. So when you think about the times there, the stock market's right about to open here at 9:30 here in New York. That would be 6:30 out in the Bay Area, but we had to get in and do stuff before that. So my first job had to be at my desk at 4:30 in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
The job was really interesting. It was great, but wasn't sure if that's what I wanted to do long term in terms of having the opportunity to connect with people outside work and invest in things outside of work that I value. So after that, I actually moved over into a different area of finance, venture capital. So kind of
Mm.
what you were saying, Rob, have some background in the startup world. It was at a firm called Emergence Capital Partners, which wasn't well known then. I was actually kind of the first non-partner to join the firm.
Mm.
But it had some press around that time early in my career because that was right around the internet bubble and bust. And they were one of the first firms to raise some new money and raise a new fund after that. And the way they were able to do that is they had a specific thesis. Something you see a lot now was not as common back then. Back then, most of VCs would more be generalists and would say, hey, maybe I'm smarter than everybody else, or
Right.
the way I differentiate is the way I worked before. But Emergence came in and said, hey, we have a thesis. We're going to invest solely around that. The thesis
Mm.
was in this thing called the cloud, software as a service. So it was very early there, but invested in things like Salesforce and Box and Zoom. The big hit for the company is a company called Viva Systems, which I think only went through a Series A, but then had an IPO. So it had a fantastic return
Mm.
on that. So very close work with startups there at Emergence. And then, the last job I had before I moved out here and started doing this was at a technology company doing corporate development. So that's acquisitions of other companies primarily. A lot of that really kind of fed into what we're doing here because you're seeing all the different functions of a business. You're seeing how those work at a high level. You're seeing what you need if you're going to spin up kind of a new entity in a new country, or if you have a subsidiary and how that needs to work. And that all plays into what we're doing here for creators at Oversubscribe, which I can describe in a second. So yeah, like
Yeah.
you were saying, my co-founder and myself, more than 20 years of experience apiece, kind of in the technology finance side of things. And we're really, really excited to help creators do what they need to do to bring those insights from the funding world and the finance world into helping creators reach their full potential. Because like you were saying, there's a big catchphrase these days that creators are the new startups, right? And
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
we take that seriously, and that creators they're truly businesses. They when we actually are putting together a slide right now for our own fundraise showing all the different functions that creators take on. I think there's like 30 different functions that a
Mm-hmm.
single person, when you're starting out, takes on. Everything from editing and screenwriting and
Yeah.
graphics and thumbnail design, all the way to being a business manager, to doing negotiations, and everything end to end. So it's really, when you break it down, it's truly a one-person company, a one-person business. And because of that, we also think a lot of the tools you use to help businesses to succeed can also help creators to succeed. And in this case, the parallel we can draw is from my own background. That would be venture capital and angel and seed investing. What we're really trying to do is help creators have access to that growth capital, that risk capital that individuals until now have never had access to, right? You can get a loan as an individual, but there's never been a way for somebody to invest in you as an individual.
Right.
But we're hoping to bring that, and we think the best investors, and we can talk about this more later, would be your own fans and your own audience, because those are the folks who are already invested in you with their time and emotionally in your success. That makes them great financial investors, potential financial investors, when you think the time is right to do this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, no, thanks for sharing that, Peter. I know, I mean, we're going to keep talking here, but just a real quick plug. Somebody's listening right now. They want to learn more about Oversubscribe and to say, hey, this is exactly what I'm looking for. I would love to have people invest in me, in my channel, in my business as a creator. Where can they go? Where's the best place?
So you can go to our website just to find the overview. That would be
Mm-hmm.
www.oversubscribe, oversubscribe present tense, not without a D, .co. www.oversubscribe.co. You can also just email info@oversubscribe.co as well.
Okay.
Both
Perfect.
Jay, my co-founder, and I check that. If you tell us that Rob sent you, that the Rob and his podcast sent you over here, we'll definitely make sure to respond there. So
Awesome.
you can find out the basic details at the website, and then if you want to find out more, feel free to reach out.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so make sure you guys go over there. Even just just learn more about Oversubscribe. I think it's a really amazing platform that's really empowering creators to get funded and do things and accelerate some of the growth that you guys are trying to do. So talk to Peter, talk to Jay. I think it's great. I'd love to hear the story you're telling me about Mike, one of the creators that you guys work with recently. I guess before we do that, I was just kind of thinking, you know, before, you know, what if someone's like, you know, I've got a decent audience, but I don't know if they're going to be interested. I don't know if they're going to do this, and like fork out, you know, 20, 50, 100, $1,000 to invest in me. I think you were showing me, you guys have some sort of like, almost like just like a test, you know, just a bit of not a survey, it's beyond a survey, but a way to test that. How, you know, yeah. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Fantastic question, Rob. So, as I was saying, we spoke with a lot of creators, hearing kind of about their general problems, but also, saying as we built out the product, how do you feel about this, and how would this work for you in your specific situation? So, all the creators would say, "This is fantastic. This is exciting. It'd be great to raise money, and I think this is going to work for a lot of creators." But then, many creators will also say, "I'm not sure this is going to work for me with my audience. I think my audience is different. I want to be very careful about what I offer to them." And we think that's the right attitude. You don't want to just be throwing anything at your audience that you think is just going to work for you. So we heard that loud and clear. And it's funny. We actually so we work with a number of fairly well-known creators, fairly experienced creators. We're going to be announcing kind of who's on our advisory board and some of our advisors and our mentors fairly soon. But one particularly successful creator who's built and sold a business, who has won some major industry awards, he was saying to me, it's kind of paradoxical. A lot of creators, they're on this riskier kind of career path, but they're very conservative in their business decisions. And it makes a lot of sense, right? You're a one of one, that you depend on your relationship with your audience. And there's a level of trust there that you don't want to put at risk. So we heard that loud and clear. We treat that very carefully because that's the most valuable thing for a creator. We don't want to put that at risk in any way. So what we've done is added a step in before you put up the full offering. So we'll walk through the full offering in a second. What that looks like is, like a Kickstarter page or a GoFundMe page. It has the amount you're trying to raise. It'll have a progress bar. So if you're trying to raise $25,000, it'll show, you're 5% there, you're 50% there. But I think every creator's fear is that bar never moves, right? So you're trying to raise $27,000 like Mike was raising, and it never moves off 0%, and the bar is at the far left side. So what we want to do is give them a way to find out more information. So we did that in two ways. One is we started something that we call our audience interest poll, the AIP. So this is a simple page, and you can see these both for yourself. So the AIP, we had a live one for one of our early creators. It's called, you can look to teamholdaip.oversubscribe.co. That's Mike, the channel that Rob and I were talking about earlier. His name's Mike Zakarian. He has a fantastic channel. He has fantastic content. Mike is a stand-up comedian who started daily live streaming on NBA topics. He's on fire right now because it's the NBA playoffs. He's putting up a lot of new stuff now. But Mike had a lot of these questions as well. So what we did for him is we put up this audience interest poll page initially. And we just asked there, we didn't put up any dollar amounts. We didn't put up the revenue share percentage or the amount of time he would share revenue. Mike just said, "Hey, I'm looking to create new kinds of content for you guys. I'm looking to hire an editor. I'm looking to do live events," because as a streamer, he has a very tight sense of community. They've already done live events. "So I'm looking to raise some money, some support to allow me to do these things for you all. Would you be interested in supporting me in this new way I've found?" There's this company called Oversubscribe where it's not just going to be a donation like Rob was talking about, but you can actually invest and you'll already get all this new content and all this new stuff from me. But also, if I succeed, you can share in that success financially. Are you interested? That's all he was asking on that page. And then they would just, if they're interested, they click "I'm interested," and all you would put in is your email address. And if you wanted to share additional information, you could say how much you might want to invest. And that's all you do, just to express your interest. So what happens after that is the creator can keep that open as long as they want to. They can talk about it as often as they want on their content. And then whenever we close that, Jay and I and our team, we sit down with the creator and we say, "Okay, here's the numbers." The creator can say, "Hey, that's not what I was hoping for. Maybe we'll hold off." Or we might say, "Oh, those numbers might not be able to support what you're hoping to see." Or more likely, we'll say, "Hey, the numbers look good. Let's figure out a number for how much to raise based on these numbers and how you can use that number." And we can also start to figure out what percentage of revenue you want to share and for how many years. So we think this is a great step for creators, very low risk. You can just announce it a few times, and then if you don't see the numbers you want to see, We can circle back around in a few months. We can give you some suggestions about how to see those numbers go up over time. And then you don't have to mention it again, or you can just say, yeah, it didn't seem like the right time for this right now, or I wasn't comfortable with some things I saw with how this guy work. So that AIP is an important part of the process, super low risk. Even when you sign an agreement with us at oversubscribe initially, you only sign it to do this AIP. After you see the result of that, if you want to move forward with the creator public offering, the CPO, we sign a separate agreement. So anyone who wants to try that out, let us know. Again, we have some confidence in this, though. The reason we feel confident putting this up is the second reason. We feel confident about supporters wanting to support their favorite creators. We actually ran a poll, a survey, actual paid proprietary consumer insight survey. So not like a Facebook group survey, but an actual panel of 800 pre-selected regular YouTube watchers. And so we asked them all different kinds of questions. But one we asked them is, how interested would you be in supporting your favorite creator through a one-time investment with potential returns? So of all the YouTube watchers, 62% were very interested in supporting their favorite creator in that way. Of highly engaged viewers, and we use a few different metrics for that, it was 80% said they were very interested in supporting their favorite creator in that way. And that makes sense. We're kind of between Patreon and some of the full investment things out there. It's a way to support them while also having that upside potential. And, we also encourage our creators to provide perks as well. Because the idea here is this is not a true financial investment for the supporters. Primarily, they want to support their favorite creator. They're emotionally invested in them. That's really the primary motivation. But versus everything else they see out there, hey, there's a potential for if the creator succeeds, I can share in that. Versus if it's some of the other donation-based things, if I donate and then they make a ton of money, it kind of can leave a sour feeling in your mouth sometimes, right? That,
right.
They were able to benefit, but I saw no benefit. So this is unique in that way. And then we have those numbers there where you can support them that way. The second set of numbers we saw is precisely that. So we asked them kind of about the more donation or perks-based monthly type membership sites, and we said, hey, if you're familiar with these, would you prefer to support through the monthly donation or through a one-time upfront investment with potential upside returns? And 2/3 said they would prefer the one-time investment with potential returns to the monthly contributions. And I think that was both about the upside, but also about the one-time nature as well. So it's not kind of this unbounded amount for an unbounded amount of time. It's kind of something you know about upfront. It's certain for your own pocketbook. So we feel fairly confident about that, having those numbers. So for the AIPs we've seen so far, it's been a good process. I think it's actually been very encouraging for the creators. I think one thing for creators, it's hard for them to measure engagement, right? True engagement, true investment from their own audience and their fans. So for Mike here in particular, even when we ran the AIP, he was so encouraged by that, to see that these guys, he has a full live stream with a chat. They have real community. When we first spoke with him, he had about 6,000 subscribers, which we can talk about in a second, Rob. But he had a real community there. He'd set up a Discord. I think there was over 2,000 folks in the Discord. So for those numbers, really, really strong, not just engagement. This was not like, comment, and subscribe. These were a real community. And they really feel they could benefit from that. So we really like, so Mike was really encouraged by that, what he saw. And then obviously when he ran the full CPO, he was encouraged by the results, but also to see, how that translated into that emotional investment, really translated into financial support in this way.
I love that. That's really good. And just a real quick note: if you're listening to this on Google or Apple, like on the audio version, and you're not seeing the video and sort of the screen sharing that we're sharing here of the different pages, feel free to hop over to YouTube or Spotify. There should be a video version of this podcast episode, and you can kind of see what me and Peter are talking about. It's actually really fascinating to kind of see how this looks. If you're a creator. So Peter, if I think there's some questions I'm assuming as a creator that's hearing this for the first time, thinking, okay, well, if they're investing, what's the give? What would I owe to my investors, to my audience? And I think if we just go through this page, which is looks like Mike's CPO page, kind of will explain it, because I think you outline at the bottom, even like everything's very transparent down to oversubscribes fee, like what the expected return is and all that. Would you mind taking a couple minutes and just kind of go through this page as I scroll through, just to explain, and then hopefully that should answer most of the questions for the creators listening out there.
Right. And actually, before I jump in to explain the
Sure, sure.
specific details there, kind of the overarching concept that people should, that we want people to know here is that we are a fully regulated investment platform. So what that means
That's
is we've
important.
actually gone through a whole process with that's overseen by the Securities and Exchange Commission here in the U.S., the SEC, and then another body called FINRA, which oversees things like investment banks or investment firms,
Yep.
to become something that's called an equity crowdfunding portal. So there was a new set of laws that came out in the U.S. about 7, 8 years ago, where it allowed something called unaccredited investors. So in the U.S., there's two classes of investors. We can call them unaccredited investors, who what the law says is these are knowledgeable investors, but in actual fact means they make a certain amount of income and have a certain amount of assets. And then there's unaccredited investors, who the law is saying are less knowledgeable investors who need to be protected more, but in practical fact just means you make below a certain amount of income. So the distinction's always been that unaccredited investors cannot invest directly in private companies where they don't have a direct connection kind of to the founders of the company, where they're not friends and family. So if you heard about a hot startup, you couldn't just walk up to them or email them and say, hey, I want to invest $500 in you. If you're an unaccredited investor. But that changed with some set of laws called the Jobs Act, and particularly a set of laws called the Equity Crowdfunding Act, or the Regulation Crowdfunding, which allows unaccredited investors to invest in private companies before they are on a public market like NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange, while they're still private and VCs are investing in them. Also, unaccredited investors can invest in them as well. But it can only happen in a certain way. It has to happen through a platform called the Equity Crowdfunding Portal, where you go through this whole process with those bodies I mentioned before, where you have to get regulated and you're overseen actively by these bodies. So what that means for the creator and for the investors is you can have some confidence here that this is fully regulated. We felt very strongly about getting regulated and having this oversight because we thought that would give both the creator and the investors a lot of confidence in the solution, an additional sense of security beyond Jay and I just saying, trust us. We could say appeal to kind of those authorities as well. So that's a lot of what you'll see here on the page is partly we want to be as transparent as possible. Partly is we're required to, by law, by these regulations that we follow and we try to follow very closely. So yeah, that's the overview. We're a fully regulated solution. We're not crypto based, if that's a question here as well.
Yep.
Crypto, as we know, largely unregulated for investments. That was fine for a while. Now we're seeing that's starting to cause some issues. For example, Coinbase even said they might want to move to London in case, given what the SEC is talking about. Right. So we felt very strongly that being a regulated non-crypto solution was probably the best solution to do this. And last year that didn't feel as great when there was a lot of money running around for crypto, but we're very happy with that decision. We're happy we stuck to our guns. We think it's the right thing for creators and investors, and that's why we've done it. So with the page that Rob was pulling up, everything you'll see here is follows those regulations, and then we explain what Mike is trying to do here. So as you see here, we say how much he's trying to raise here at the very, very top, just like you would see on a Kickstarter or on a GoFundMe. So Mike, in this case, was raising $27,442. And we will explain where that number comes from in a second. But the quick preview is that's the $25,000 he was trying to raise plus our fees. And we're very transparent about our fees below. So you can see that progress bar there. Because this was closed here, he has 100% raised. It also tells you how many investors invested. So he got 72 investors, over 70 folks to invest. If you do the average there, that's a decent amount, a few $100 from each person.
Yeah.
But beyond that, when we first met with Mike, he had about 6,500 subscribers. So that's well over 1% of his subscribers there who invested here for a very not a large audience. We generally were targeting folks above 10,000 subscribers. So when you work the numbers, you don't need a ton of subscribers to make this work. We'll do that math in a second. But on this page here, Mike just talks to the potential investors here. He says who he is, maybe for the folks who are a little less familiar, and then kind of all he's accomplished, and then what he's trying to do. He'll also have, as Rob's pointing to there, he'll have examples of his own content here. We've embedded some of his videos. And then as you scroll down, there's milestones that he's passed to date. So we don't work with, the beginning creator, somebody who's just starting and wants to raise money, just like, angel investors or VCs don't necessarily invest in somebody who has just started and hasn't proven anything. we want to work with somebody who's already probably monetized, who's already started to establish their voice and then their brand and their channel, but where some money can really make a big difference for them. So Mike would definitely fit in that camp. But as you can see, he already had accomplished a decent amount there and many fantastic things. So then he talks below about, hey, how is this money I'm raising going to be used to benefit you as the investor, as the fan? And you can see that right there. So the biggest chunk of it is $20,000 he's raising to hire an editor. So as we said, Mike is a daily live streamer. And it's not just once a day. Sometimes it's 2 to 3 times a day. So Mike has a lot of content that he can repurpose for shorts, for short form content, or that he can even make long form content out of. The difficulty is there's just not enough hours in the day for Mike. The streaming itself is obviously very taxing, and then he's wearing a lot of hats already. He just hasn't been able to do it. So he has a lot of footage, and it was fantastic. There was actually an editor he knew from his own community who knows his voice, who knows the brand, but he wants to be able to pay her. So he's raising $20,000 to pay Veronica, the editor, to do the editing and create his content. But he also wanted to do a couple other things that would be great for his audience and for his channel and his brand. So one is live events. So as we said again, something we look for in all the creators we work with is that they have that relationship with their own community, with their own audience. So we really are looking for folks who have community. So beyond just engagement, beyond like, comment, and subscribe, we're looking for folks where the audience feels they know them or actually know the creator, right? Where the creator is responding to comments or is using the community tab actively, or even has set up, like Mike did, a Discord, an off-platform, really communication platform where they can actually talk to each other. But it's not just TV where it's a one-way relationship, but it's a real community, a creator to audience, but also audience to audience as well. So Mike has already built that before we even spoke with him, up to and including he's already done live events, but he wants to be able to do more. So he's an NBA focused channel. So the NBA during the summer has something called Summer League for rookies in Las Vegas. A lot of people, that's become a big event for people who love the NBA. So he wants to put together an event there where the community can come together and really build that bond even more strongly. And then the last thing is Mike wants to do more forms of content. So he's ambitious. He has the skills in the background to do it. As I said before, Mike is a stand-up comedian. So he has great presence on camera. He could do much more than just kind of the improvisation of a live stream. So he wants to do more produced long-form content in particular. One idea would be like man on the street type videos. Here's an example above, Rob, if you scroll back up. He actually went to the All-Star game this year for the NBA and tested it out, doing some of this man on the street stuff. And Rob's playing the video there. And he went and asked people, do you know who's in the dunk contest this year? Nobody knew. And it's pretty funny. So he obviously has the skills and the ability to do things like this, and man on the streets become a thing. He can do it in a very NBA specific way. Go to Knicks games here in New York. He's based in New York. He could go to speak with people waiting in line there and see what they're trying to do. So he's looking to do a lot more of that. So he doesn't want to just be limited to streaming, just to short form. He has ambitions for his content and for his channel, what he can provide for his audience beyond what he's doing right now, and this money would be for that. So that's the $25,000. The reason the number is a weird number like 27,442 is because Oversubscribe charges an 8.9% transaction fee on the amount of the fundraise. So that comes out to $2,442. So just right under 9%. But the two things to note here is number one, this is added to the amount of the fundraise and does not come out of the creator's pocket. So the creator's not writing us a check. This is added to the amount of the fundraise. The technical term is capitalized into the fundraise. So that's why the fundraise amount is $27,000 rather than $25,000. But the second fact to know is we only receive that if the fundraise succeeds. So if the creator is able to raise the amount of money they're looking to raise. So we're totally aligned in their success. We're totally motivated to help them succeed here and to see them do well. So that's all the numbers there. Mike kind of speaks about some of his revenue. As we said, he started doing this during COVID, was less focused on monetization today, and hasn't had the time to reach out to brands and things like that. So he shows his numbers there. But this might be a place where we could talk about our mentors, Rob, because we have a whole network of mentors beyond the fundraise here. So this is something that Mike and a lot of the creators we speak with are very, very excited about. So I'll speak about in detail about all the mentors later, but one we have is a brand deal mentor who helps the creators position themselves to monetize themselves better with brands. And with our brand deal mentor is somebody who previously worked at a fairly large management agency, who work with both micro influencers and macro influencers. So folks as small as kind of 10,000 followers, 10,000 subscribers, but also work with the macro of the macro. So Keely, our mentor, she's done brand deals with Charlie D'Amelio, and then she's done deals with Bella Porch. So two of the top 5 TikTokers currently. So she knows all kind of the needs of brands, both large brands and small brands, also the needs of creators. So we're not going out and finding the deals for creators. We're not a management company. We're not managers for our creators. What we do is help them have the tools they need to go and do this. So Keely kind of trains them on, how to present yourself to brands, how to put together the materials you need, and then also what types of brands might be good for your type of content. So Mike's very excited about that, to really see a change in his revenue curve, his revenue trajectory going forward here. So that was there on the page. And then the last thing you'll see on Mike's page is that he actually offers up some perks. So we're encouraging that for all our creators there, to make sure and just make clear for everybody. This isn't just a financial investment, particularly for the fans. This is a way to support your favorite creator, but also participate in their success when they succeed, or if and when they succeed. We're not guaranteeing success for anybody, but if they succeed, you can share on that upside. But we also encourage the creators to offer exclusive perks here. So, for example, you'll see there's an investor-only YouTube badge that only investors will be able to show, or there'll be an investor happy hour. It'll probably be a Zoom meeting for Mike.
Yeah, that's cool.
Live Zoom meeting where he'll share about his business, what he's seeing out there. He'll have a separate Discord, a separate meetup as well. So those are the perks. And the last thing, obviously, the dollars and cents here. How does this work for Mike? So for Mike, the way his CPO works is he was raising the $25,000 or the $27,442 with fees, and in return, the investors, the fans in this case, would receive 13.5% of his revenue for 3 years. So a big distinction here is that there's some other investment solutions out there that creators can work with. Those are generally for more established creators, and we can work with very established creators as well, but also for up-and-coming creators. But a big difference is generally you'll receive a contract with terms like this, and you can decide whether you want to work with them or not. With oversubscribe, because you're working primarily with investments from your fans, we can give the creator the power to choose those terms. So we will obviously work with them and guide them. We know not everyone is the most numbers-oriented person. So Jay does a great job in putting together some numbers. We can, as we gather the numbers from the creators, we can make some projections, like upside projections, downside projections, baseline projections, and then say, hey, if you have the baseline revenue projection for 3 years, here's a good percentages, or for 4 years, or for 5 years, here's our percentages. And we can kind of give them a grid, and they can choose a number there, or they can choose a different number if they choose to. Ultimately, we can guide them all the way, but the creator has the power in the end to choose those terms themselves. The other distinction to make here is that this is all creator revenue, particularly for the early creators here. They share across their AdSense if they're a YouTuber, and their brand deals, course revenue if they have a course, affiliate deals. The reason here is for the earlier emerging creators, they don't know where the money's going to come from in bulk, largely when they're earlier in their career. So we want to make sure the investors do have access to the upside if it is there. So we do it across all the revenue for that creator. We do actually have a different product. We call this our CPO Accelerate product, because this plus access to the mentors is kind of like a startup accelerator. Mm-hmm. So that's CPO Accelerate for the emerging creator. We have another product that we call CPO Platinum. That's for very established creators who might not want to share all their revenue because they did all the work to make that. That was less from the investment money helping them to succeed there. But they might be looking to launch a new product or a new business line, or might be looking to launch like an energy drink. But they want to have their fans and their supporters involved in that, because not just is it a way for them to raise money to do that, and it's a great source of capital to do that, but also that can help the product to succeed even better, right? So we spoke with somebody who said, hey, when they launched Prime, if they had actually done something like this, those folks who invested in launching Prime are even more motivated to evangelize about it, to get people to buy it, because it works in their favor. They might make a little more money in addition to being able to brag about being an early investor in Prime. So that's our CPO Platinum product for project-based fundraising for more established creators. That would just be the revenues from that project. So if it was an energy drink, it would just be the energy drink revenues that are shared, not all revenues of the creator. So that's the full page that we walk through here with Rob. There's some disclosures, and at the bottom there's a Q&A section where if investors have questions, they can ask them there. And then there's also on this page, the important part is also the link at the very top, the educational materials. So if people have questions about how this works and all the regulations, we have a full
Nice.
FAQ section here. Again, required by law to do this, but we would do this even if we weren't, because it's important to know how this works and what's going on and what the risks might be. We talk about all of that here. So I'd
That's
encourage
great.
anybody, if we take a look at the education section as well.
This is great. This is really good. Yeah, it really is basically investing into a creator. I mean, everything here that you guys are sharing. I like how you sort of put together, sort of mentioned that, it's kind of like the accelerator. Even is very much like a startup thing. There's money, there's capital, but also mentorship. Typically with founders, and that's essentially what you guys are building here, which is amazing. Give us a couple ways that for the folks out there listening, like how did Mike promote this then? I know he does live streams, so I'm assuming he mentioned it during live streams. He did a telethon, it looks like. Yeah. How did he promote it?
Yeah, so I mean, we can help the creator, but in the end, we want them to be the ones telling their own audience about it. Obviously,
Yeah, of
because
course.
they have that bond, they have that trust. They are the ones raising money. So what Mike did is a couple things. One, he is a live streamer, so he first introduced it on his stream. So he for the AIP and the CPO, so for the audience interest poll, that just kind of that poll of interest of if you want to support me this way, he talked about it at length there. And then also on the stream where he launched the Creator Public Offering, he talked about it at length and was able to go more specifically about the terms and the amount. So that happened on the stream. And then he would regularly mention it on the stream as well. He would have it in the links. I think it's there. Yep.
Yep.
So he put it in his links. He also has a Substack. He talked about it on Substack as well. Kind of all in his Discord, he would talk about it there. So we gave them talking points, so it's not up to the creator to come up with all of that. We
Oh,
give
good.
them talking points about what they can say, also what they can't say. There's certain things you can't say under law, like you
Right.
can't say, "I guarantee you're going to double your money."
Right.
And they would get in trouble. We get in trouble.
Right.
But
Uh-huh.
yeah, so he did that. He also created a produced video, about a 2.5 minute video, I believe, where he talked about it kind of in a very succinct and really great way. So that's on his channel as well. But primarily he uses Stream and then all the existing channels he had already to talk to his folks about it, to answer their questions, and then to remind them of this. And the great thing about a streamer is they can do it more often. He was able to do it almost every day. He didn't want to kind of pound it into their heads every day, so he kind of made a big push at the beginning, and then towards the end he made a big push at the end, and would just mention it briefly in between. But yeah, we did see every time he would mention it, particularly when he would mention it at length, we would see the numbers there. The more promotion from the creator, it was definitely correlated with people coming in right after that to come invest. Because we're all human. We're all like, oh, I'll do
Yeah.
that. I want to do some reading, but I'll have to wait till the weekend. And that happened in a lot of cases here. So,
Yeah.
we saw some people were rush at the end with him, but also every time he mentioned it on a stream, we saw more and more people come in. So, that's one thing with streamers. It was able to move pretty quickly for Mike because he was able to mention it so often. If you're posting weekly or bi-weekly, you might want to leave it open a little longer because you don't get as many of those touch points to be able to remind your folk. So we'll work with the creator on the best schedule there. Again, we work very, very closely with them. We don't just tell them, here's what you do and walk away. We are working very closely and guiding them through the entire process.
Yeah, that's great. That's really good. And the one thing that I did notice about Mike is that he raised a fair amount of money here with a relatively smaller channel, Peter. So, I really wanted to call that out just because, I think that's one of the things a lot of creators, not just with this for sure, but when they're thinking of memberships or launching any type of revenue stream, they almost kind of doubt themselves. There's a lot of doubt in doing that, I don't know if my audience is big enough, or, when I get to 50,000 subs, then I'll think of doing something like that. But Mike, like you mentioned, I think he was around 6,000 subscribers when he initiated this campaign, and, he's at almost 10,000 now, obviously. He's grown. NBA playoffs are hot right now, right? So I'm sure his audience, is growing. But yeah, you don't need a huge audience, do you, Peter?
That's exactly right. I mean, if you do the math there, if you're raising $25,000, that's 100 people investing $250 a piece.
Yeah.
250 people investing $100 a piece. So you can
Right.
look at your own audience and do the percentages there. For most people, that's going to be well below even 1/10 of a percent or 1%
Yeah.
for sure. Mike got about 1% of his folks to invest here. So you could do that with your own audience size if you're bigger than this. Obviously, there's different dynamics with different types of content. Streamers do have that tighter bond, a tighter relationship, a tighter community. So yeah, I mean, the numbers might work differently for a streamer versus somebody who does a different type of content. But yeah, that's something we look for, is really that level of community engagement. If you feel you have that with your folks, that'd be a great candidate to work together with us. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I think,
it's
you do
awesome.
the numbers there. And the other thing I would say, you noted there yourself, Rob, he went from 6,500
Yeah.
to over 9,000 now. That's partly the playoffs, but that was partly from his work with our mentors. So early
Right,
on with
right.
Mike, we actually had him go on with one of our mentors who gave certain tweaks to his shorts in particular about
Mm.
things he could do. And Mike said it on one of the videos, on one of his live streams. He saw an immediate change in his subscriber growth once he started doing some of those tweaks there. So that's another set of our mentors. We have three sets of mentors. There's the brand deals we talked about. There's kind of a content strategy set of mentors. This is a production studio, two very experienced YouTubers who now produce a lot of YouTube content. It's called BMP Creative, Justin Johnson and Anthony Deptula. And they actually are really good at YouTube content. The case in point being, they do all of Netflix's YouTube content. So
Oh,
anything
wow.
like a movie trailer or a TV trailer, they're doing the content. So celebrity interviews or reaction videos, they're the ones who are producing all of that. So they're coaching our folks on how to upgrade your content, tips and tricks there. And then the third set of mentors we have are kind of strategy folks, long-term strategy folks. The BMP folks do a lot of that as well, but a lot of these folks are experienced creators who are active now. So, for example, we worked with a very experienced creator with about 3 million subscribers who meets one-on-one with our folks and says, who's been there and done that, who's been the one who's grown from the 10,000 to the 3 million, and then can share that experience with the creator and also give them feedback specifically about their own channel.
Amazing, amazing. This has been great, Peter. I think what you guys are doing, here with creators and helping them really become true businesses in this way and accelerate their growth is fantastic. I haven't seen anything like it. I think, like you said, it's kind of in between Patreon, which is a donation, and almost like Spotter, which is you're really giving up a lot over there. This is really truly people are investing in your business as a creator. So I love what you guys are doing. I would love for you just to take a minute and just invite folks that you think are a fit for you guys in the audience, and as we wrap up this episode, and also where to connect with you guys, afterwards.
Thanks. Yeah, I'll definitely do that, Rob. And first off, I just want to say thank you for having me on here. It's been a pleasure joining you here. I appreciate the opportunity to share about how we're trying to help creators. If you are a creator out there listening to this, or if you're a manager who works with a number of creators, or if you know a creator in your life, we're looking to help all those creators. So we can help both the emerging creators. Generally, we look for folks with about, kind of 5 to 10,000 subscribers or above on YouTube in particular, but we can work with people across all platforms. So if that's you and you feel you have kind of a good bond with your own audience, we can definitely set up a call and speak with you about how this might work for you. And again, very low commitment going in. We can just run that audience interest poll with you, where there's no dollar amounts, where there's no commitment to invest from your audience, where there's no percentage of revenue or number of years. You're just going to say, I'm hoping to do these things. Do you want to support me? Click here. We can work with you to do that at a very low commitment. We can do that very quickly. So if you're an emerging creator, we'd love to talk with you about our Accelerate program, so you can also benefit from all our creator mentors as well, who can really change the trajectory of your career as a creator. And we can also work with very established creators as well. If you're looking to launch a new business line, or launch a new product, or launch a new type of content, we can work with you on a project-based basis as well. That's our CPO Platinum product. In that case, you're not sharing across all your revenue streams. You'd be sharing just from that one big project. We're a little more selective about who we work with, but we'd love to speak with you as well. And we think we can help a lot of creators on that front as well, to really provide that deeper level of engagement, that deeper level of community for that audience they've worked hard to build. They are truly invested in your success in this case when you launch that new energy drink or whatever it might be. So we'd love to hear from you again. You can reach us at on our website at www.oversubscribe, oversubscribe.co. We haven't paid up for the .com yet. And then you can also there's a email box there you can email us at, or you can just email us at info@oversubscribe.co. Jay and I are both the ones who take a look at that, so we will make sure to respond to you if you tell us Rob sent you. So we'd love to hear from any of you out there who have any interest, who have questions. happy to answer any questions and would love to see if there's a way to work together here.
Awesome. Peter, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Really appreciate it. Learned a lot, and I will definitely be sharing this with a few creator friends and contacts, and folks in the creator economy. But yeah, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm sure I'll see you around, and definitely on Instagram and LinkedIn.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Rob, and thanks for all you do for creators here. I think
Thank you.
listening to these, they're really a great source of knowledge. Where knowledge is so hard to come by. That's why we're doing the mentors. So thank
Yeah.
you for doing this, and thank you for having me on.